Hello, gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome to the 100 subs special. So, for my 100 subscribers, I decided to do a challenge by Animated General to form the Spanish Empire. And all I have to say is this challenge is painful. So let's get right into it. So, I begin the game by starting off as Spain, and I decide, yeah, we have to assimilate Catalonia because we can't have these people do any funny things like, I don't know, independence. So, the game begins, and first thing I do is immediately build a port in, I think, yeah, Cadiz, right? And I prepare to launch an invasion to take over the African territories, mainly Western Sahara and Equatorial Guinea. Because I realize that, since these places are relatively small countries, they'll get taken over, and then I'll have to end up fighting some big ass country just for these tiny provinces. So, better to get it over with now than later, right? And so I take over Western Sahara, quickly use the troops to get to Equatorial Guinea, and I'm able to do this with just 9,000 troops. There's really very few casualties in both wars. And so, just like that, I finish all of the African territories that I really need to conquer. And after that, I decide to go to the Caribbean, where I have to seize a lot. Okay, most of Spain's gains are in the New World, and so the first thing I do is I need to establish a foothold, and for that I invade the Caribbean, and so I take over the Bahamas and then Turks and Caicos. I don't know what the fuck this is. Turks and Caicos. Whatever the fuck. Yeah, listen, I just take over the islands, okay? I just take over the Caribbean islands. That's all, right? So it goes great. I take over. What's that place called? I'm just gonna say Georgetown. I don't know. I forgot the place. I didn't see the name. Anyways, I decide to invade Curacao. Okay, I can't say these names, bro. I fucking suck. Okay, but then I decide, okay, yeah, Puerto Rico is the last place. So I realize I'm getting a little bit low on troops. So just to ensure my victory, I recruit a few more from the Bahamas, which it allowed me to do because I was assimilating them. And yeah, this mainly just goes well. I use the Bahamas for like an extra supplementary manpower, and I even invade Jamaica and take it over. And after that, all I really need to take over is Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And so to do that, I realized I need a lot more troops. So I decided to organize an army in Spain itself to go and conquer these regions. Because conquering this island right here, like, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, would give me a very nice base, considering both these countries have like pretty nice populations, and so it'll be plenty to recruit from. Of course, the main island here is Cuba, but I decided to wait until I decided, I would go conquer that. Anyways, Turkey declares war on me, so just to get them off my back, I get Iran to fight them. Guadeloupe declares war on me, but I realize they're not in my required territories, and so I just leave it alone. I then proceed to go on with the next step of my plan, which is to take over Central South America, and I start with Panama. But then all of a sudden, Morocco attacks me. Now, here's the thing. I decide, okay, I can't really deal with Morocco. And here's what I do, a pretty big brain move. Okay, also Mali, but I get rid of them. Okay, I just distract them. Right? Here's what I think of a big brain move. I knew I'm not gonna fight Morocco. Okay, I'm not gonna seriously fight these people. So I decide to ignore Morocco and then go after Costa Rica. And so they're still fighting Algeria, right? And see, what I think is, I realize that I do have a few provinces. And so what I could do is I'll sacrifice like the Western Sahara regions, and I'll instead just go and take the northern tip of Morocco, which is undefended, right? I even conscripted people to do that. I just did a few micros here, but that doesn't matter, right? And then I immediately just blitzed into Rabat. And you see, what happened was Algeria began to advance. And the thing is, when enemy nations take over, yeah, as you can see, they returned my provinces. And then after that, I just took the land I needed and then left. And as you can see, that is how you turn a situation like that in your favor. You basically get someone else to attack for you, and then you basically get another country to reclaim your land for you. It's pretty convenient. Anyways, I decide to raise a new army in Spain once again to, support my forces here. Barbados declares war on me, but again, they're not a part of my required territories, and so I ignore them. Even I think Nicaragua then declares war on me, and since they are a part of my territories, I decide to invade them. Right, Saint Lucia, I check to make sure, but no, it's not a part of my territories. Honduras is a part of them, so I decide to naval invade them, and it goes well. It goes very well. And right after that, I immediately go and invade Nicaragua because, well, I already have the troops right on the borders. The attack on their capital fails, but considering the rest of the entire country is practically fallen, yeah, it falls in a matter of 2 turns. By this point, I am the 6th strongest power in the world. And these South American nations, they have good population, right? They have a pretty high population. No, sorry, not South, Central American. Sorry, my bad. Can I just say Latin American? That's basically what I'm conquering, ain't it? Anyways, these countries they have good population numbers, and so these actually make it a great place to recruit from, and give good territories. I'm sorry, no, I mean good taxation money. And so throughout this time, countries do declare war on me, but if they're not in my required territories, I just ignore them completely. And so I continue on. I continue pressing further and further into Central America. And I decide to wait for a little while so that I could pile up some money. And then I prepare to invade Guatemala. An invasion which goes pretty well. I'm able to take everything in the matter of a few turns. And I prepare to invade Belize shortly after. And that too will actually, let me just assimilate. And yeah, this too just goes well, very well. It no hindrance whatsoever. And then I even notice in the fort that Mexico is literally piling troops on the border, so it's concerning, but I decide, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. It's not too much of a problem. I move my troops down south to Panama so that I can organize my army and make it stronger. And all of a sudden, Colombia declares war on me. And this caught me by surprise, but I was lucky enough to have troops in the area which could defend. And so I frantically started recruiting in Panama, and I was able to hold off their advance and I made peace with them, even though they were a part of my required territories, because I was not in any position to invade. I did not have the troops. And so when I was planning to return the invasion, Peru declares war on me. And so I'm like, yeah, no. And then they don't even make peace. And so I'm like, all right, let's get rid of these people. And so remember how I said that this was a great recruiting ground? Well, yeah, I meant that. So I was able to create a 40,000 strong army, even after, I even had to take a loan to do so, right? Even took a loan and just, decided, okay, I'm going all in on this. And then I invade Peru from the south because, well, it's more cornered off and all that. And I see the AI trying to do a naval invasion, and so I hold back some of my troops, just to make sure. They do push back somewhat in my, the ground invasion, but I'm able to also counter them. And some of my troops are even cornered off for a time being. And here, Egypt declares war on me, and I don't think much of it, but we'll see later. And then, all of a sudden, straight out of nowhere, Mexico declares war on me, bro. And so now I'm freaking out, right? Because this is concern. I have no money to defend this. Literally no money. And so I get the US to attack, but I have no money to pay them with. And so I literally take a loan just to pay them, right? And so now I'm facing a 2-front war. I'm not going to stop the invasion of Peru, right? I can't do that because Peru is practically on its last leg. And thankfully, this island, Antigua and Barbuda or something, they get at war and they stop Mexico's advance. So I tolerate their, conquest because it stops Mexico from conquering me. And then all of a sudden, from behind, Bolivia attacks me. And at this point, I fucking start like raging. Literally, like, in my seat right here, I am fucking getting high blood pressure because of this. Like, I get actually pissed with the game. Like, this is one of the moments where I'm like, oh fuck, I just gotta give up. Okay? Because I'm being invaded, right? Bolivia can totally return all those territories to Peru, making my conquests really useless, right? And I don't want that to happen. And I'm being attacked by Mexico as well. And so I try to make peace with Peru, but then I thought, no, it's not going to be worth it considering I'm losing this territory to Bolivia. But I decide to do it anyways because at this point I am desperate. And I start trying to micro as much as I can so that we can, you know, I start trying to move stuff around so that I can best maintain my territory. And I think maybe I should assimilate places, but I don't even bother because I know I'm going to lose these. And so I get Paraguay to attack Bolivia, so that to relieve some of the pressure. And again, this Mexico continues to be at war with me. Like, I'm concerned. Barely any people die in the Mexican American War, like the war that's being fought with America. But yeah, and which I was annoyed a little bit. But anyways, Bolivia continues to be a pain in the ass. Um, yeah, oh gosh, it's an absolute mess at this point. Like, this whole gameplay is a mess. And I managed to sort of fight back against Bolivia, and I get a favorable peace deal with them as well. And of course, the front fighting on both fronts continue. Egypt still doesn't make peace with me, and I try to get Mexico to make peace with me as well, and they continuously refuse, both of them. And so once again, I played it smart. I did not want Mexico bordering me, and so I once again let that island nation continue to attack me and take over my provinces, because I knew if Mexico was bordering me, that entire freaking Central America would be just completely theirs. Like, they would have completely taken it over. That's why I didn't even try to make a peace deal. I just peace deal with the island, I mean, right? And so meanwhile, Egypt invades Catalonia and straight up and straight up just takes up, and I have to take a loan just to defend it. Luckily, I'm able to contain it, but in Egypt, invading Catalonia is not something you see every day. And so I decided to punish Egypt by getting both Libya and Sudan to attack them. And then all of a sudden, Brazil invades. And at this point, I almost lose my shit. I am being faced with invasion from Mexico, from the north to the north, Brazil to my newly conquered Peruvian territories. It's terrible. I get so angry at this point. I'm actually sick and tired of this. I desperately try to make a peace deal. It even gave me flashbacks to last video where I fought Brazil as Peru. And you guys remember how that went. I'm sure you guys remember how that went. It was agonizing. And yeah, I knew this would be no different. And so I decided to recruit Argentina to join me in my war. And I even recruit Suriname. I basically used this strategy that I did last time as well, in this video. And I once again try for a peace deal with Mexico, and to no avail. They still continue the war. And now Mexico isn't even my priority anymore. It's Brazil, right, defending against these people. And so I check on the Mexican American situation. The Americans are doing great in this war. And I realize that I have to conquer America in the future, and that kind of does come to bite me in the ass. But at this point, my main concern was a fight for my territories. I mean, I can't say fight for survival because these are just colonial territories. I could, theoretically, I mean, Spain is still safe. The homeland is still safe. Andorra declares war on me, but since they're not a part of my territories, I just ignore it. It's not I don't have the resources to spare. Um and I basically start attacking Brazil. And you see, the thing is, Brazil is surrounded on all fronts, and yet they still don't peace out. It's the AI in this game, I swear. It's so uh yeah, it's annoying, I'll be honest. Right? And so now, though, the pressure eases up a little bit, mainly because since Argentina is attacking Brazil as well, like along with me, it's eases up because now Brazil has to fight multiple people. But of course, Brazil just piling troops. And luckily, the AI is doing the stupid thing where like it plunders territory instead of, you know, using the advantage it has at the time and then conquering further. And finally Mexico like achieves the peace deal, right? And now I can finally stop those islands occupying my territories. And so I end up making peace with them, because it's no point anymore, and it works in my favor. And so now that's one crisis averted. Okay, one crisis averted in Mexico. Next, now I could focus my fullest attention on Brazil, which was actively collapsing mainly because of a two-front invasion. Meanwhile, Mexico was basically fighting for its life against the USA. Um, Trump was clearly invading Mexico. Anyways, um, I continue to fight back, and this time, since I can over time recruit more people, since stability helps, stability does increase. I fight back against the Brazilians, and now the Brazilians, I really don't feel that they're much of a threat anymore because they really stopped attacking, right? And so now, using what is basically what I would love to call my manpower pool, okay, I basically recruit a massive army to prepare to invade Venezuela because I knew that this invasion will be much more easier, right? Since here's the thing, right? I really was not very invested in attacking Brazil, mainly because there is no territory for me to gain by attacking them. Well, only like a little bit, right? Only like that tiny piece. And as you can see here, Brazil is practically collapsing. And so that's why, once again, they weren't much of a threat anymore. They had been neutralized similarly to how Mexico had been neutralized. And so I begin my invasion of Venezuela. I attack from the north, from the Caribbean Sea, in a naval invasion. But they get military access through Colombia. Like, they got Colombia to give them military access. And then that basically meant that they could attack through them. And so they attacked my territories like that. And so then they decided to, like, yeah. Then they decided to naval invade, but yeah, then there were rebels. Oh, yes, the Peruvian rebels. And yeah, they did not last long. I got rid of them quite fast. And meanwhile, the invasion of Venezuela was going pretty great, to be honest. It was relatively unimpeded, mainly because I can assume they had a lot of their forces in Colombia, and so was distracted. Only annoying thing about the AI, as it usually does, was spread its stuff around. Okay, that sounds so wrong. But not spread stuff around as in spread troops. This is the Colombian AI we're talking about. Anyways, so I continue what? No, not Colombian. What? No, Venezuelan. I'm fucking mixing my countries up. Jeez. Yeah, and the thing is, their troops in Colombia, previously a good thing, but then they start attacking across the border, and I realize I have to defend the whole border with Colombia now. And so I quickly finish off all the territories that I need in Venezuela, and they continue to do that thing where they spread around, and it's really annoying. So I had to do the same thing in return and spread around so that I could counter them spreading around. Anyways, the invasion goes well. I realized, I had to take all the territories. And then, just like that, they take one more province, but I managed to save it. And just like that, I take all the territories I need from Venezuela, leaving only what is basically just a rump state, right? And so after that very successful counter, right? And also Brazil, I managed to make peace with them as well. And so just like that, I avoided, or well, survived what was the most like terrible fucking crisis to face me in this entire challenge. There will be more, don't worry. But this at this point in the game, like no, before this, right, when I was being faced with a two-front invasion, that was the point where like I really, really wanted to just like straight up just give up. Like I was actually contemplating just not doing this challenge. But then I was just like, nah, I can't back down like now, because by then I'd played for like 40 minutes. I was just, nah, it's gonna be a waste of time. So then I decided to declare war on Colombia because, well, I had troops surrounding every single border. I could invade them from like three directions. So Britain declares war on me, but again, I really don't care. Uh, the British tourists clearly want the Spanish beaches, but they will never get them. Okay. I decide to just blitz across Colombia. Really, it's pretty easy. Right, the invasion is simple. I rapidly take territory in a matter of days. Oh shit! Sorry, sorry. I just got. It's been 20 minutes. Anyways, the Colombians do manage to hold some territories in the north, but as for the rest of the country, they practically fall. They just completely crumble. And yeah, even the north crumbles as well soon enough. Uh, yeah, it's over. It's over. Right? And so just like that, I finish off Colombia, and now even more countries declare war on me. Like I think it was a bit. Oh yeah, and I leave the territories that I don't need, and so Colombia is joins Venezuela in kind in becoming a rump state. And so to get Britain off of me, because I knew that they were like, if I left them to themselves, they'd come and invade like mainland Spain with like 20,000 people or something. So I did not want that to happen. So I got France and Ireland to declare war on them. Gibraltar declares war on me, and I just think, you know what, why not? And I take them over. So yeah, this invasion goes pretty easily. And since they are a part of my required territories, why not? It's easy. Easy wins. Right? Might as well take over the territory. And then Britain, and like, the notification comes that like Britain wants to make peace, but and after a while I try, but and it works. And it works. It's all good. Right? So no more risks. No more people at war with me, which is actually though, and throughout this gameplay, so many countries like just declare war on me like out of nowhere. It's really annoying. And so I take to assimilating everything manually. Yeah, this is annoying as hell. Okay, doing all that. And so I was just like, I can't do this. And prepare to invade Ecuador because, well, honestly, now that I've taken over practically the entirety of like the west of Latin America, why not? Then the DRC declares war on me, but nothing. So I just go and continue with my invasion. Ecuador actually manages to hold out, and this concerns me because to my north, I can recruit very little troops. And so I just start fighting. I start trying to contain them as much as I can from taking back old territories. And it works, largely works. But then when I try to take their provinces, it gets, yeah. But after a while, I'm able to take everything, and then I send a couple units to the Galapagos Islands to seize them as well. And just like that, Ecuador is done, and I seize all the territory that I need. And so, since they are part of my focus, I'm happy. But I still have a lot more to go, right? This is like, now at this point, I'm number one in the world, but I am nowhere near my required. I mean, just by looking at the length of this video so far, I am nowhere near my required territories. And so I decide to build up a massive army to prepare for my invasion of Cuba that was, well, should have happened actually quite a while ago, but whatever, man. Better late than never. And so I invade Cuba pretty quickly. It goes well. There's no hiccups. And so Mauritania declares war on me, but by this point, I know that I won't even have to worry because at this point, when you're like the number one strongest country in the world, or when you're relatively stronger than almost everyone, countries will normally go to peace with you if like you just ask for a peace deal. So it's simple, right? Then I think about my other territories that I require. I think about the Netherlands and Belgium, and I think maybe I should go for those. But I decide in the end to go after Guyana because I really need these two provinces, and they sort of just fold to my demands, which is simple enough, makes it easy. And so now I realize that I'll have to go to war with the Netherlands um, over their South American holdings and their mainland holdings in Europe. And so I decide to create a massive, massive army with the money I had in South America. And these men will go back to mainland Spain and fight, essentially. 60,000 strong army. I send it to Gijon. Okay, I don't know places. I can't pronounce shit. Anyways, I'm heavily in debt, but I ask Belgium, which is, funny enough, they're just really good allies with me. I ask them to allow for military access, which allows me to basically negate most of the negatives of naval invasions. And Portugal declares war on me, as you expect. But at this point, again, I'm so powerful they just peace out after I ask them to, right? They're afraid. And after the initial fighting, I managed to fight back and take over the Netherlands. And I I ended up forgetting that I had to take stuff in their colonies as well. And so I take that back. And so yeah, I go scroll away for a little bit. But yeah, I take over the Netherlands completely. I just take all provinces because all provinces were required for me to take. Actually, funny enough, I was lucky. I put like the exact borders of the Netherlands. I guess that's intentional. Um, so I finished assimilating some stuff that was left behind, and I realized that Brazil. I still needed some territories from Brazil and all these southern South American nations. And thing is, I wasn't so much afraid of Brazil anymore as I was before, considering how powerful they were. And but I decided to leave South America for now and decided to focus on Europe. And I took over Luxembourg, well, relatively fast. Again, using help from the Belgians, mainly from the military access that they gave me. And I was planning to I was planning to basically betray them in the future, but that would be for later. I prepared to invade Peru, or mainly finish the job with Peru, because honestly, all that's left was just some ragtag, not ragtag, just leftovers. Leftovers is what I can call it, of the initial invasion. And so I was just casually thinking, and then all of a sudden I see all this pink. It's a revolt, and yeah, it's crushed. It goes away. And I'm pretty sure mainly like that has to do with mainly from the uh, multiple turns of plundering that these enemy countries did, and so now I prepare to invade Bolivia, because at this point, because of all the chaos that was caused in South America, like all the countries fighting, well, me causing everyone to declare war on Brazil, that kind of led all the borders to be freaking like just completely scrambled, and it resulted in everyone becoming weak militarily. And so I was able to conquer Bolivia relatively fast. I seized all the territory that I needed. And of course, you know, as always, assimilated everything. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Listen, I don't want any more rebellions like the previous one, okay? Like, here's the thing about rebellions is they're not really much of a problem. Even if they succeed, they don't really do much. They just create a new country. And thing is, Brazil declares war on me. And this time I'm prepared. This time I'm not the same broke Spain that I was before while, fighting Mexico and all that. This time I'm able to create an army on the spot to fight Brazil. And I check out all the territories that I need to conquer and prepare prepare to basically conquer them all. I start raising men, but unfortunately, considering I just conquered Bolivia, it did not allow me to raise that much. So I knew that one thing, the main Brazilian attack was in the north. So I knew I needed to hold there. And so I advanced, I took all the territories that I needed. I didn't try to take extra, mainly because my rule. I only take what I need or for my formation, right? Mainly because I just like the borders being correct, like I don't want a little like wacky stuff. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, I decide to invade the southern parts. I know the south part, right, of what I need is not going to be well defended whatsoever, and so I invade. And even Paraguay gives me military access, so I'm able to invade from the west as well. And Brazil continues to fight back in terms of like this northern front, but at this point, they are so weak. They're like at 50,000 factories, which is a far cry from their initial strength, that I'm able to take over all the provinces I need, right? Eventually, right? So the conquest continues to go well. They continue to hold at like, I don't know where this. Okay, I don't know my South American geography very well, but they hold at this like, well, you guys, the straight line area, like the part where the border is just a straight line. Yeah, there. They continue to hold that area, and they even push back against my invasion. But thing is, the deeper they go, the more troops I can bring to the fight, mainly because I can just continue recruiting. And so I launch a counterattack and push back all their forces. This goes well. And the thing is, though, in these regions of South America, like fighting in this area especially, it's hard because you need to already have a pre-made army, because like the provinces here just have like really really few people. Like you guys just saw the population map mode, right, or a little bit earlier. Like there's barely any people here, so you can't recruit. And so yeah, that's that. And this time now I beat Brazil, and properly beat Brazil, and I take all the territories I need. This time they make peace immediately. Like the tables turn completely against them. And so I continue assimilating. Sorry, water. And now I decide to betray the Paraguayans for all the help they gave me. I'm an amazing person. Anyways, I mean, look, it's mainly because just Paraguay's just there. It's like barely, it's barely defended. Like you can see their troops, man. There's barely anything there. So I move my troops. Cameroon declares war on me. Like I said, as I said before, right? You guys remember what I told you? Like a big African nation would take it over if I didn't take it over first, and that's what I'm talking about. Like if imagine I didn't take Equatorial Guinea, some like Cameroon or Nigeria would take it, and then I'd have to fight them to get the tiny bit of land. So yeah. Anyways, I take over Paraguay easily enough. And the thing is, though, that Argentina had taken over Chile, and so now I couldn't really fight them, and so I just lined up troops for the moment to prepare, and a rebellion started, but crushed that shit as usual, crush that shit, right? And so now I've taken over most of my territories, and like my Spanish Empire is looking good. It's looking good right now, but still we are nowhere where we need to be. And so I start recruiting a massive army, a like massive army. Not actually, no, not at the scale as before, but still massive. Again, like Central America, like the Caribbean basin, like that area in general, is just a recruiting. That's where my recruiting pool is. Like I didn't even use mainland Spain anymore. So to get around Argentina and to get an advantage, I decided to invade Paraguay. I'm sorry, Uruguay. Sorry, there's a lot of guays. Okay. Anyways, um, right. So I invade Paraguay and line up the entire border with up to I think 3,000 people per province, and I take the land and everything. And see, the idea of this was to invade this before Argentina could, so that when eventually I do fight a war with Argentina, I would be able to use attack them on two fronts, which, as you all know, the AI is not very good at doing. And so then I decided to finish off with the Falklands, and all of a sudden Switzerland invades me. But again, at this point, any country will make peace with me. And actually, no, not any, just most countries will, right? So I take the Falklands. I do what Argentina could never do and take the Falklands back. And then I remember that I have territory. Like, I just, when I take the Falklands back, right? I think about, like, if I have any islands that I need to take, because I remember there are islands. And then I remember I have like a shitload of territories that I need, or not shitload, but I have a bunch of territories I need in the Pacific. And so I go to the Pacific to invade. And of course, I have to routinely check over and over again. Like, I have Nauru, Marshall Islands, Micronesia, all of those. Like, they make up a very tiny percentage, but still I need to take them over. And funny enough, when I was playing this, it took me like a minute or two to search, because the islands are so small in this game. The islands are tiny, right? It's hard to see because it's like if your brightness is low in this game and you're looking in the Pacific, you can't find shit. Like, it's gonna be difficult. Russia declares war on me, but bro, I don't even like, man, I don't even know the AI in this game, bro. Because like countries like that are miles away will declare war on you. That's just the AI in this game. It's really confusing. So I invade Nauru, and I think oh no wait, I have one more. Yeah, I have one more province of theirs that I leave behind, but it's over. Wait, was it Nauru or Marshall Islands? Okay, yeah, Nauru. Right. And then all that's left at this point is Micronesia. Wait, was it Nauru that I caught? I don't know, man. I'm just. Listen, I just went on an island conquering spree. Guyana invaded me. Listen, man. At this point, when I'm just conquering islands in like the middle of nowhere, that's when these tiny countries decide to invade, like, or attack me. It makes no sense. But again, yeah. AI in Guyana was suicidal. Luckily, I wasn't just conquering. I mean, I'm trying to form an empire here historically. And the thing is, East Timor is allies with Micronesia. They actually managed to take back some islands, but yeah, you guys know how this will end. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. And so now I take all the tiny little scattered islands that I need. And now I prepare to invade the Philippines. And so I start gathering all the people from my previous invasion. And now, at this point, I had what is practically infinite money. And so I just started recruiting like a ton of people. All these like Latin American nations, like especially their capitals, are just stacked with people. Like even in real life though, the population density of this continent is like super low in most places. But then like you'll find like the capital is like a slum. Like that's how it is. It's a weird world we live in. And also like while those troops are coming, I just observed this like funny sight. Like why is Taiwan invading China? Bro, it's like a reverse or something. Anyways, I invade the Philippines from top down. Uh, it goes pretty easily. Like here's the thing, in this game, the AI, I'm pretty sure how it works is like it'll usually use all of its money in conscripting like trying to conscript a massive force in the beginning of the war. But if you defeat the initial force that the AI throws at you, there's nothing left. So you're done. And so just like that, I invaded the Philippines. It was easy. It was easy. Just like 1600s. It just 1600s Spain would have. Funny enough, it's named after like Philip, which is like the king of who was the king of Spain. So still got the name. Um, Actually, yeah, there was a very interesting History Matters video about how Philippines could have changed its name but didn't. Anyways, I'm a I'm going off topic. So I look back at Europe now, right? And I think about, all the stuff. And I decide maybe it's a good idea if I, invade Italy. And so I station my troops in Palma, or well, I send my troops to Palma, and to supplement, just to make sure that I'd win, I literally once again raised a straight up second army just to supplement my previous one. And this army, I literally went recruited from Cuba and everything. Because, I've invaded the Italians in multiple occasions on this channel. Like, I've invaded Italy multiple times. I've played as Italy. It's not a good idea to underestimate, like, just underestimate in general, but especially like when you're fighting European nations, like the second you declare war on them, they'll just like pull out some 20,000 troops. But this time that wasn't going to happen. And so I came in with 100,000 strong, used 25,000 to invade Sardinia. Bro, I just went crazy. I went crazy on this one. Um, Sardinia was taken in a matter of turns, in a few turns, and I immediately started moving troops back so that they could support the main attack. And the Italians started doing the thing where, the AI naval invades you relentlessly, even though they have a land connection with you. It's so fucking weird. I don't know why the AI does it, but that's AOC too for you. Anyways, the invasion after a while is pretty easy. After they exhaust their initial manpower, it's just simple. I even wanted to be a cool boy and do a naval invasion, but I was just like, nah, I don't even need to. It's like I just need to advance this much and it's over. They'll give me all the territory I need. And so, yeah, as expected, they did, right? I don't think anyone's exactly in the best negotiating position when 100,000 troops or something are on your shore. So then I organize everyone in Rome, and from the initial 100,000, only like 29,000 people died, which is, that's that's good numbers. That's good numbers. 29,000 people in exchange for like half of Italy is good trade. Who even cared about human life in this game, anyways? So then after that, I decide to invade Belgium, or prepare for the invasion of Belgium. And I don't even like bring that massive army that's in Italy. I just recruit a whole new one just for this invasion because I'm only gonna invade like half their country. And that invasion goes pretty well. What I didn't realize was Belgium had territory in like southern France because they were invading France as well. And so they started invading me from there. I had to take a loan just to fight them back. And, that worked pretty well. Funny enough, they are the second power to invade Catalonia after Egypt. And wait, now that I look back on this recording, why the fuck was the Czechs invading the Czech Republic invading the UK? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. That's just it's so random. It's so out of nowhere. Anyways, I take over all the territory that I need, but Belgium, they managed to find a gap in my lines, sneak through. But over, done, no more. Okay, it's all gone. Anyways, oh shit! Wait, let me just drink some water. I've been speaking for 40 minutes straight right now. So. Damn. Okay. Well, I decide to once again raise an army of 100,000 people. And now that I'd finished all of my European conquests, I decide to finish the job in South America and fight the biggest threat or well, not the biggest threat, but the biggest country, I guess, in South America, which was, well, obviously Argentina. Which, funny enough, I helped to rise to power because I got them to declare war on Brazil, and then everyone ganged up on Brazil like that. And then now they have all this territory. And so they basically took over the entirety of like the southern, what do you call it? The cone of South America? Is that what you called it? Like Yeah, all this. Yeah, yeah, okay. So I call in all the troops from Europe, a massive force, and I decide, okay, it's time to go in, and I invade. The attack commences on like three fronts. And funny enough, I'm in a salient right here. I'm in like the vulnerable position because he can easily just cut my troop. Well, this isn't real life, so I don't think that salients matter in this game. They really don't. But if this was real life, the Argentinians would have like the opportunity to cut my troops off and like surround them and kill them and all. So yeah, glad this is Age of Civilizations. Anyways, I push unimpeded. I had like, especially in the northern areas, I had like 10,000 per province. So it was going well. And soon enough, I managed to split, the initial plan was this, right? I had Uruguay and I had Paraguay. I was gonna basically use my troops to split up the Argentinians on into two sides, which I achieved in a matter of turns, and then would be to push into the south, because that's where most of my territory, which I needed, really is. And so, even from the troops in Paraguay, I was considering just holding that until the troops from the north get there. And that's what I did for quite a while. But then I decided I decided to push into Argentina from there as well, because I realized that I could easily capture Buenos Aires, which was a part of my required territories. So the invasion from the north goes well, but then I realized that they're doing the thing where, the AI invades you from the sea. And so even from the eastern side or eastern half of split up Argentina, uh, they were like landing troops there for what I assume was a counterattack, which was concerning because my lines were thinner that side than rather than like the north, like the main front right here, right? And so I was concerned, but not to worry because I had like thousands of people. I could like it's not easy. It was not just me holding. I had to shift lines and all. So, anyways, the Argentinians were actually, I'll give them the credit. They pulled a pretty smart move invading from behind like this, because I was broke, so I had nothing to fight with. Even though I did get 10,000 per turn at this point because troops were dying. That's what's funny. When troops die, you get more money because it's like you don't have to pay them anymore. Um, yeah, Argentinians attacked from the north, but I continued to push from the south because honestly, there's nothing for me to do. It's pretty dumb for me to just rush back all my troops. That's pretty dumb. And so now they were basically invading into Bolivia. And meanwhile, on the eastern side, they were also pushing back, which was, again, I was worried, but I was not too worried. I was worried, but not worried at the same time. Like, that's the best way I can explain it. It's just, all I had to do on the east was just shift my units long enough so that I could finish up my wars, so that I can finish up all the territorial conquests and take out the, like, how do I say this? Rogue? No, what do you call rogue? Not like runaway Argentinian troops in the north. That's what it was up to, really. And so, meanwhile, in the east, it was going good. I was retaking provinces that they had taken. But meanwhile, in the north, the AI was continuing to be a pain in my ass and continuing to just run away. So painful when the AI does that, because you have to, like, it's annoying because you have to spend more troops just to surround them. And luckily, by this time, I was actually nearing up finishing my debt because I was finally gonna stop being in minus money, right, in one more turn. And by this point, they still had not been stopped. And I continued to pursue them with all the units that I had in this area. And I took out one pocket, but alas, there's the other one, which just kept running. And this time, I was able to recruit. And so I recruited small numbers of men because I knew that'll be all it took to hold. And it did. It worked. Meanwhile, in the south, the Argentinians managed to retake Buenos Aires, but this time, since I had money, I even took out a loan, and which I could pay back. Um, I was able to fight back against them and against their counterattack, which was actually pretty strong, right? It was a relatively strong counterattack that they did because they managed to take out a whole several thousand troops there. I mean, South Sudan declares war on me, but I don't care. Anyways, I took over all the provinces that I needed from Argentina, and so from then on, I decided, okay, it's peacetime. Argentina would, from here on out, be split from South and North Argentina. Yes. But they'd be the same country, so no, like, you know, North South Korea kind of thing. Anyways, I painstakingly assimilated all of these territories, blah, 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 that. It's the usual, the usual. And now, thing is, I had like, this thing, right? Okay, all I had to do was just, fucking hell. This is probably one of the most annoying parts about playing this entire playthrough. Just the sheer amount of provinces that I need to assimilate. But it's kind of worth it when you consider how much money I'm making. I mean, look at the money per turn, man. It's insane. Like at some point in this game, it becomes like the sandbox mode. Actually becomes a sandbox mode where you just have infinite money. But not really, because when you recruit a massive army to fight for you, it does put a strain. But so I decide to organize my army once again, since everyone was kind of all over the place. I organized them all in different places. Some in Buenos Aires, some in La Paz, some in whatever Ecuador's capital is. I don't know. And so and the total strength came up to like, actually I don't even know, some like 90,000 maybe. That's how much survived. No, not 90,000. Definitely not. More should have died, but probably somewhere around 60,000. Yeah, I think that's how much survived. So either ways, there was only one enemy for me to fight, which was the USA. And okay, I'm not gonna say anything, but I basically prepared to fight them, and I started recruiting a massive army because I knew I'd need it. You see, remember how I said earlier in this video that getting the USA to invade Mexico would come to bite me in the ass? Well, it did, because now I had to fight the USA, right? Already powerful enough on its own, with the added strength from Mexico. And so I would I would start to and also Andorra freaking just invades me, right, again. And so I got so sick of them. I literally conquered them and then fucking wiped them out of existence. Like I literally just abandoned the province. Yeah. They never attacked me ever again. I think they're I just wiped Andorra off the face of the earth, bro. No more. It doesn't exist. I didn't even bother. I wanted to puppet them, but I didn't even bother. I just wiped them out from existence. Stop existing, Straight up. They just don't deserve to live. Anyways, I do a quick save because I know this is going to be a hell of a task. And I invade the USA. And so I held my breath as the initial invasion began, and it was largely successful. In fact, I was doing super great in terms of my invasion. I was launching attacks with like 30,000 people. It was amazing, right? The US still had not come to attack me back. Now, if you guys remember from my Vietnam video, you guys will know the US in this game, I guess, just takes a while or something. But then they fucking come with like 168,000 people on the wall. Like, bro, who who just like you could have put them on land. Like I was getting pissed. I was actually for freaking out right now. Okay, like in this point in the video, because I was like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit! Like two armies of 80,000 troops just casually landing on my shores. I recruited every single motherfucker in all of Central America. Like I was just like recruit them all, recruit them all, recruit them all. And at this point, I did not feel like this war was in my hands anymore. Because now here's the thing, right? If they did something like Argentina, which they did, right? Same thing Argentina did. But if they did it with like 9,000 troops, like Argentina, that would be completely fine. I could contain it. But they put an entire army's worth of units into into their counterattack, into their naval, like into their amphibious invasion. Like, I swear, man, I'll never understand this AI. And like, furthermore, when I tried counterattacking those units, I literally lost like 60,000 people just in that one attack. And so I did the only thing I could. I used most of my troops in the invasion of Mexico, and I continued with that invasion. And so I did. And I also had like 90,000 people back here, which I, pulled back, who most of whom would die actually in or later on. I even increased tax rates just so I can fight back. Right? But the Americans kept moving around. It didn't allow me to destroy them in a single battle. And so at this point, I knew they'd outnumber me. Right? I attacked all I had. With all I had, I attacked that 100,000 troops. Those 100,000 troops, with all I had around them. Right? I continued to invade Mexico. And all I had died right then and there, leaving 40,000 Americans left. It was terrible. That was probably like the biggest defeat that I had in this war. And so I quickly scrambled to try to make a peace deal, to take as much as I could. I tried to, just like negotiate for a little bit of a better territory, maybe just get something a little nicer. But to no avail. The Americans literally severed all of my connection. Like, they literally separated all of my troops from them. And now I did the only thing I could, which was to invade further and deeper into Mexico. The tide was still in my favor because, percentage-wise, I took more land. It's just that in terms of militarily, it was not in my favor. And so I was hesitating doing it, but I even got Canada into this war, which now in hindsight, I should have done a long time ago. And by this point, the Americans were closing in. They had essentially done an encirclement of all of my forces, who were now stranded in between two American armies and, well, basically had no way but to survive. In a way, a literal replica of what Mexico went through when I made America go to war with them. So, hey man, it's like it's gone full circle, bro. Shit's gone full circle. And so what I started to do now, because I knew I was losing these territories, was I decided to cling to the fortress. And I was desperate for any peace deal whatsoever. I took whatever little land I could get and just was like, I'm happy with this. But no, they kept fighting back. They even managed to take the fortress, which was the capital. Like, it was supposed to defend my units, but no, still didn't work. And at this point, this was just like this invasion. I planned it so well, like with 30,000 people, yet it was an absolute mess, an absolute disaster of an invasion. It resulted in just me just doing all these little movements in a desperate attempt to basically survive. So, yeah, this invasion, I got so desperate that I kept asking for a peace deal, but no. So I did what I could, what I best could, and just I kept doing the thing where you split up. And at this point, though, I'll tell you one thing. I'll be honest, it stopped looking that hopeless because now my objective had changed. It had changed from taking territory and make, because listen, I never expected to take America down in one single blow, right? I never expected. I That's unrealistic as hell. So all I wanted was to just take territory. And so my objective changed right here from taking territory to just surviving, which seemed more likely because I still had a lot of money saved up and I had all the troops and I recruited some more, right? And I even got rid of all the extra territory just so that the AI would accept my deal. And I tried to make it better. But no, they still refused to make the deal. At this point, I was also freaking. This was like another one of those points where I was like freaking out about this challenge, right? Because if you look at this video, it had been like one no, it had been 2 hours. Yeah, because because this is sped up by two. It's been 2 hours and I've been fighting. But finally, the US makes a peace deal. And then I realized that several 100,000 people died for nothing. That's when I was left with the realization that several 100,000 people from my Spanish Empire just died. And so, in a accepting my loss, I began to raise an even bigger grand army of sorts, as I called it, as I was playing, and prepared to invade the US once again. I'd have 50 turns to wait before the peace deal finally expired. And, of course, they were still fighting Canada this time. They would still be fighting Canada. And so I raised a massive army and got prepared because I knew this would be tough. So I organized everyone into different places, so that I could, it would be easier. Funny enough, moving, if you move 20,000 people separately in this game, it takes more movement points, so it's smarter to move everyone as one unit. Just a little tip. Yeah. So anyways, I move everyone to Panama, and I think this army is something 100,000 strong. And so I once again move it. But this time, I decide to do something different. Okay? I realized that the US strength was naval invasions. I knew that the AI was like that. And so what I did was I raised a massive army, okay? I raised a massive army and I put it to them. But the next step of my plan, right? Okay, wait, I'll wait for it. But I continued raising a massive army, right? You might be wondering what those 100,000 people are doing, but you'll see, right? So I once again put about around up to 25,000 around there per province on the border, because I realized that the AI in this game is not interested in doing frontal attacks, right? They're more into the naval stuff. And so I decide to basically, I guess, learn from the AI. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah. So anyways, I'd covered largely every single province. And then came the next part. 100,000 men. I decided to put them on the side which I knew that the US was going to attack. The side the waters that they previously used to naval invade me with 80,000 people. And so I laid there in preparation. And this time I felt confident in my invasion, knowing that I had everything. And this time though, I was kind of in a monetary disadvantage because since it's very expensive in this game to keep troops stationed in the sea, as pretty realistically though, that does make sense since it would be quite expensive. And so I continue to invade into Mexico, and this time the Americans don't give any resistance. But now they attack from the other side. felt it kind of pissed me off. But they decided to attack from the side that I didn't put 100,000 people, which slightly annoyed me. And I decided, okay, I need to do something, and I moved. And they even managed to do a naval invasion because I didn't put enough people. It was annoying, man. Um, yeah. So I did not want a repeat of the earlier in war, and so I decided to just continue with my invasion. All right, because now this time it wasn't something like 100,000 people. Instead, it was just a measly group of ragtag fighters that they sent. Really, that's all it was. And like it's essentially like an insurgents. That's it, right? But then they just send another, and at this point I'm losing my shit. And so I send 50,000 people to the other side so that they could join the fight as well. And by this point, I was getting mad because like 5,000 people, I did not have the troops to defend that. So I was getting concerned that they're gonna keep trying and trying to use naval invasions to essentially undercut my conquests, which, well, would be incredibly frustrating. And so I plan to naval invade them from the other way. Like I even not like okay, not naval invade them, but I basically started recruiting troops. Like I started no, not recruiting, conscripting troops, and send them to the waters nearby. But they just kept piling troops. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but they just kept piling troops, like just like shoving troops into the beaches like it's fucking D-Day, man, or whatever the fuck you want to call this day or month or actually this game takes place like a turn is about a month in this game, so I don't know what you want to call it, but eventually they just start spreading, man. They just start like going everywhere, and it gets to the point where I'm just like bringing troops from the initial advance back, trying to form a defensive line. Meanwhile, the advance up north is going amazing. I'm able to take up all the way until Mexico. And I start even recruiting more troops just so I can fight back against this, what I'd call the American insurgency in Mexico. I know, I never thought I'd say such a thing, but here we are. This is Age of Civilizations, guys. Welcome. Um, and so this is it's a cluster. Like it's the same as the first war, except this is going much better because now I know what to do, right? I know how to secure it. And so, guys, I'd like you all to take this as a lesson. Whenever you're invading a country, cover your naval borders. It'll be great. Like you don't need to put like it's not smart to just put, troops on every single province. That's dumb. Okay, it doesn't work. Anyways, I decide to take a page from the American strategy and then just land a naval invasion on their invasion. So I I launched a naval invasion of their naval invasion to counter their naval invasion. Like, bro, somebody can insert like the "this is Elon Musk" meme. Like, just put that there. It'll be perfect. Um, anyways, I continue to invade up north, and I finally reach the old Mexican American border, and I even send some troops to invade. It's called Baja California, yeah. And so now this naval invasion that they had, it's still going, right? I was supposed to like close it up and like close the pocket, but no, they kept going. So I once again naval invaded from the west, sorry, the east side this time, and yeah, it's just a cluster, man. Like honestly, this goes on for so long. It's such a pain. Like America, I think America took about as long to invade as a whole, as long as like I think this all the rest of the other countries combined. Like no other country gave me as much shit as this, like as the America did. because I was, look at me, like I was literally bleeding my coffers dry just to invade, right? And the thing is, the invasion was going well, sure, but not as well as I'd hoped. Because in terms of territory, this is just border gore, and it hurt. It honestly hurt my eyes to look at this. Okay, it's like just border gore. That's what this game is good at, though. Like, if you want border gore, Age of Civilizations is the game to go. Like, I don't know who the fuck is into that. Like, whoever is into that, no, you're weird, man. But no, it's Age of Civilization is just the place to go, because the AI will carefully construct the worst peace deals known to man. They'll make the most hideous borders ever, just because, like, just like that, they'll make the most hideous ones. Like, sometimes the AI will make a nice border, like every once in a while, and it's nice to see, but most of the time it's just terrible. Anyways, I continue to use the American strategy of naval invasions, and I use my ships, or not, wait, ships? Can I call them ships? Troops on the sea? The basic, I mean, here's the thing though. In this game, there's no naval, like, there's no different units, there's just numbers. So, yeah. It's sort of like a risk in a way. Like, there's even a dice whenever you're attacking. It's like, it's up to chance, I guess. But I never pay attention to that dice, so I don't know. I never look at it. Anyways, at this point, I reached the Mississippi River, and so now it's basically just a free for all for me to take. Meanwhile, in the South, the Americans still continue to be like a pain in the ass. Like, it's like they're more like, that's what I was thinking, right? I was thinking of this when I was playing, but like, it's like they're more desperate to hold on to Mexico than they are to, like, the actual US, because there's no defense in, like, the actual US homeland, but there is in Mexico for some reason. Anyways, I don't even know, bro. Weird AI aside, I continue to hold up on my invasions, and I basically start pushing up troops this time. And also, the pocket begins to close. Largely, I start closing the pocket now, because the Americans, essentially, they run out of troops as well. And in the South, they managed to somehow survive, and of course, they still have a few places to run, but largely their insurgency, as I called it, in Mexico had been stopped. Now I continued my rapid advance, and this wait, yeah, okay, I continued, right. I continued to invade in California, and this prompted me to, I think, yeah, check my territories, and I realized that I was conquering outside of what I required, and so I pulled back and decided to send troops north and south instead to support those attacks. And I decided that, since it was right there, I could just as well invade Florida as well. Italy asked me for military access, but I was just like, nah, I don't want a bunch of, troops running around my territory. It's pretty weird. Anyways, the invasion goes great. Okay, it continues. Even Florida, I mean, I'm able to invade Florida perfectly. And I also use my troops to do more naval invasions, because I'm a cool boy doing the naval invasions. Am I right? So cool. Yeah. I want to die. Anyways, actually, at this point, it's like, what, 2 hours 26 minutes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, as you can tell, yeah, I was playing this challenge. Listen, anime in general, if you're watching this video, okay, I doubt you are watching this far, but I doubt anyone's watching this far, because, normally I don't make these kinds of long videos for this specific reason. It's too long, so no one watches it. But if you are watching, I played for like 3 hours. This took me like 3 hours to complete. I took breaks in between, but fucking hell, this was. Yeah, I'm not doing another video like this for a while at least. I'm not doing another video. It is fucking, like, it's taking this, making this video literally took like Put my storage to the limit. I had to delete several apps just to make space. Yeah. But hey, it forced me to like delete some useless stuff, which was anyways gonna be deleted in the future. So why not? It's just I consider it's more like a trigger rather than a cause. Like that stuff should have been deleted a long time ago. So whatever, man. It's fine. Anyways, the invasion of North America continues. Again, I think the main thing about this game is just there's so many units to move. Like it's not like say I haven't played Hearts of Iron 4 because well I don't have it. Like I don't have the game. But I mean listen, I'm on mobile, okay? But I don't have my own PC to play those kinds of games. Okay? Um and like it's not like Hearts of Iron 4 where you can just like tell your troops to advance and whatnot and they'll do it all just all on their own. That's I feel like that's much easier than this. You have to manually move every single unit in every single province. It's like exhausting. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm just going on a rant right now. Anyways, thing is though, for this challenge I have to reach like the very tip top of the USA, like all the way in the border with Canada, which makes it even more exhausting to do. And so yeah, I was feeling like really happy though, because here's the thing, right? It's been like I've been doing this for 40 minutes or something at this point. No, about an hour, or no, I don't know how long it's been since I invaded the USA. Like I'm talking in real time, I mean, right? When I was properly playing this game. Like I was freaking tired as hell, but I kept going. I kept persevering. And I was so I was like I was out of my mind, bro. I was like I was just like finally it's going to be over, right? It's going to like finally come to an end where I finally finish this challenge and I can triumphantly say I formed the Spanish Empire, you know? One last province. One last province right there. And I did it. And I took all the territory. And then I fucking lose my shit. Because the fucking game doesn't let me take all the territory. Now, I am left with half of Mexico for all of that. After all of that, I am left with half of Mexico and bits of Texas and like New Mexico and all that. But that's it. That's all I got for all this massive invasion. Yep. It's this game is so fucking infuriating, I swear. And like thing was I literally made the peace deal, like I just did it. I just like did the peace deal because I was so sick of it, and then I look at the territories and then it's fucking annoying, man. So now I had to invade them again. Like I had to do all of that stuff, like the entire process all over again. Like, I swear, like you could literally split this video into two parts, right? Which I should have done, honestly. But still, you can literally split this video into two parts. Me invading the USA, and then everything else. That's it. You can literally split it like that. Anyways, I decided to wait until all the territories could be assimilated because I would need the extra manpower from Mexico to make this work. So I kept going. It was, once again though, I did manage to get all my money back. 1,300,000. Yeah, it's a shit ton of money, of course. And then I once again lined up all my borders. And so I realized, here's the thing, right? USA at this point would be pretty weak. They'd be weakened. Not weak, but weakened. And I didn't really do that thing where, put 10,000 in one province and all that. I mainly did that initially because I knew most of the fighting would be bottlenecked in Mexico. And so that would be an issue. I also still had some of my troops who were in which were in the ocean, right? The waters nearby, and so I prepared to use them as well. And I once again lined up all of my forces on their border, recruiting new ones to add to my initial or my old army as well. I had the money to do so, anyways. And from there, after the formation of a new army, I prepared to once again invade the USA. And this would mark the third Spanish American War, or maybe fourth if you want to count the one in like the 1800s. Anyways, the war began, as you'd expect, with me essentially just trying to blitz across every single piece of territory that I could. And this time would hopefully be a much more easier one. Wouldn't want to repeat it the first time, eh? Anyways, I hesitated once again to advance beyond my, required territories. I didn't want to deal with, like, initially, here's the thing, right? I didn't want to deal with the hassle of, having to figure out, like, all the itty bitty, like, provinces while making the peace deal. So I really did not try to go out of my, what do you call, bounds, you could say, out of the territory. And the thing was, the invasion went great in most places. However, in some areas, the Americans managed to make a breakthrough. Well, no, not make a breakthrough, as in break. I meant break through my lines. One of those places was Baja California, and so I rushed troops there to fight back. Meanwhile, the Americans in Mexico had managed to somewhat withstand my initial attack in some areas. However, in most, they crumbled simply. However, they started doing that thing where they spread out, and that made it all the more annoying. So I had to once again contend with what I'd again like to call the American insurgency in Mexico, because they're so obsessed with fighting for Mexico. Of course, and then again, though, in this game, though, Mexico is very valuable. Like, just that central, like, area around Mexico City is like, I think you guys must have seen it before, but earlier in this video, but each of those places are like worth like 10 points, like 10 star points. I think Mexico City is like 11 star points. So again, that's really high in this game in terms of a city. And so yeah, I guess you could say that's worth the fight. Anyways, I decide to close in on the pocket, while also invading on every single possible front. There is a disease going on, but who even cares at this point? Okay, Crimean War, like, they dealt with, like, fucking, what was the disease again? I don't know, man. But more people were dying from disease in that war than actual war at this point, at some point. Anyways, I continued my attack on the Mexican lands that America held. And, of course, like, that's the thing. They were holding those lands more insanely than their actual country. And I once again invaded Florida and the southern United States from a naval invasion. And now, though, the Mexican front was actually held up pretty well. Or not held up, but I dealt with it pretty well, mainly because I was able to surround them. The Americans, on the other hand, had managed to liberate their pocket, which was very frustrating. And I think I did actually accidentally go 2 turns, but fuck it, man, I don't know. Anyways, I tried to close the pocket in on them. Thinking about this game, though, encirclements really aren't much of a thing, right? The most that happens is, like, the troops start losing, like, a little bit of, troops start, like, dying, right, because of it, which is pretty cool. That is a nice feature. But the rate at which troops die is so slow that it does not matter. Like, it does not matter in, like, large scale wars. So I don't even know why it's a feature, man. It just doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, the invasion continued fine. I managed to once again surround the Americans in a pocket. Meanwhile, in Mexico, they continued to fight back, mainly because there were at this point so many fronts that I've forgotten. But I managed to push back the Mexico and push them back in Mexico. Um, and I kept checking, my territories that I needed. I'd make sure that I get the right ones. And see, the good thing was now that even though I was deep in American territory, I could still recruit from nearby, which was a very, very good thing considering, I had to what I had to deal with before, which was, well, no re what do you call it? How do, what is the word for that? Um, no supporting units, I guess. Like no. Anyways, I finally decided to just completely encircle and destroy all of their Mexican territories. And I also clamped down on the encirclements that I had done before, but the Americans held some positions still. Meanwhile, the invasion in Florida was going great. Elsewhere, also, it was pretty good. Once more in this, I clamped down on that encirclement. Here's the thing, man. America's general strategy in this war was just like they focused more on like holding certain like strategic like points like Mexico rather than like their actual country. And also at this point, I named my country to Spanj with a net with a J for some because why not? I literally just kept it like that, so it became Spanj. Anyways, I was just working on like taking the last bits of territory, and here and there there'd be a bunch of American troops just like there to stop me, but I'd mostly just reorganize, and I also put it back to Spain because well here's the thing. Throughout this making of this video, I was in Spain without the S, so don't want to change that. Anyways, there was this one American pocket that stuck around in California. I vowed to get rid of that. Luckily, I had a massive, or well, not massive. It's just like 7,000 people, but I guess for the current like way of the game, it's massive because right now we're fighting in the hundreds, not the thousands. The Americans do push me back in one territory, I think, in like the east side, but that's not really it's not really a big deal. I mainly focus on getting rid of the pocket in California because that could really pose a threat. Meanwhile, on this side, I bring more forces to the border, which funny enough, like most of my forces were tied up in the whole, you know, um, closing up of the encirclements, right? And so that became an issue. So here's the thing. Up until now, I had been mainly restricting myself to taking only territorial provinces, as I said before many times. Um, I only take from what I need, and yeah, as you can see, I did a lot of border shifting on the east side because I needed to move troops around constantly, and I tried to make another peace deal. This one was still terrible like the last one, but I was like, okay, I can live with this. And so I decided to like try take all of as much as Florida as I could because that way I would not have to constantly, naval invade Florida over and over again. And yeah, so I just took the last bits of territory and conquered it. So once again, it's a depressing peace deal. And now I'll spare you guys. I spared you guys the whole thing ordeal, but I basically just spent this time recruiting units, as you can see here, for in preparation for a war. And yeah, I took my time. I don't know, it's taking a little bit of while, but I basically spent this time just sending units to war, preparing them on the front lines. This one's taking a little bit of while. Anyways, so I don't know why I'm playing a little bit. Okay, yeah, wait, no, this part isn't sped up. Shit. Okay, wait, I can't go back now. Fuck. Anyways, so I prepare for the invasion, along with in Mexico, right? It's just I surround the units here, and I wait for the fuck. Okay, you know what? Hold on a second. Let's just get to the good bit. Okay, now it's getting to the good bit. Okay, now I basically prepare for my second war with the USA, and I get ready, but I have to wait 27 turns. So skip. You can just skip this right here. I think I cut this part out. I save you. I'm gonna just save you guys the wait. It's annoying. Okay, just like that. Boom. Now we're here. Okay. Now we declare war on the USA. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to speed that up. Anyways, I go to war, and this time, however, I go in and I just as usual, right? Blitz in, and this time though, okay, it goes as normal. The USA once again just doesn't do shit. Like it doesn't just like it doesn't defend at all. I don't know if this is the American strategy, but it is. Yeah, see, that's the thing. The only place they attack is Mexico. I don't know why. It's like they're purposefully trying to get behind the lines. It's so annoying. But personally, okay, like I was annoyed that I didn't take Mexico in the peace deal. But now that I think about it, it was good, because that basically meant that it Mexico sapped up all of their attention and allowed me to just conquer their land, the homeland, unopposed, just like this, as you can see. Meanwhile, in Mexico, it's just mayhem, as usual. That's average day in Mexico, but um, yeah, that mayhem allowed me to continue conquering into the USA. So you know what? Allow it. It's fine. Sorry, I'm drinking tea right now. Um, anyways, once again, the Americans ran into a pocket in the same, I think around the same place that they did last time. Um, I, on the other hand, closed the Mexican pocket, so now no more, like no more in Mexico. They're just gonna stop. Um, Meanwhile, up north, the invasion continued as normal. At this point in the game, though, this is the point where like the game gets a little tedious. Like it's been something like 3 hours at this. No, yeah, at this point in playing, when I was playing, it's been like 3 hours. Okay, it was like I was tired, but I kept playing because I didn't I was this close to finishing the challenge. And like I don't know why I tried a peace deal. I don't know, but since I realized that the AI was never gonna give me a proper peace deal, like let me take all the provinces, I just decided, fuck this, I'm going all in, and then I just start invading every single province that I can, and this goes great. Because now, I mean, it gets stopped in a few places, but it goes amazing, especially in the Florida area. Because I had just, listen, all those troops, they were just sitting there with like no purpose, no reason, and doing nothing. But now it was like I awokened all of them. Awoke all of them. Awokened? What the fuck is my. Anyways, so I start just sending troops up north mainly, but also to the east. Yeah, to the east side, right? That's what you call it. And I just start piling everything. So I just advance on every single front against the Americans. And funny enough, I was so in my rush that I completely forgot about Mexico. So yes, I'm such a good general, bro. Okay, listen, if I was a general in real life, I'd actually just forget fronts exist. Like I'd be so distracted with one thing that I forget the other front exists. Like that's you know. I mean, I guess that's why in real life as well as like so many generals, they'll just give one general one front. Makes sense. They'll focus on one thing and not multiple. Anyways, the invasion from Florida goes absolutely amazing. I invade the deep south, just the south of the USA. Whatever, man. I just invade it. They start counterattacking from the Mississippi River, which is actually pretty concerning. But at this point, I'm just pushing so far deep into the territory that it doesn't even matter anymore. And I think of taking territory, and I decide, yeah, you know what, maybe I can just take all the territory I need right now. Or not all, as in, I mean, I can just take a massive chunk out of them. And this time I do the peace deal myself. And so I make sure that I get a good deal, right? I make sure that I get the best deal that I can. And I even take all this extra territory and I do something pretty smart with it. I decide that I'll create like a Mexico as a puppet. And why I do this is simple. I can reduce my border with the USA. and thus giving me more, allowing me to use more troops in less area, which works in my favor. So yeah, I did that on purpose. Okay, I'm gonna save you guys the assimilating. That took a long time. Here is the final war with the USA. It begins as they all begin, with a massive, massive infantry attack. I mean, what the fuck am I saying? That's how every single game begins. Anyways, this time I hold nothing back. I'm no longer I'm just I'm done with it, right? I'm just no longer sticking to any border whatsoever. I'm just taking everything. Every single thing is up for the taking. And once again, the Americans just stick to their like straight up policy of just defending their Mexican territories. I don't know why, but they do it. It's funny. It's pretty stupid considering the rest of their country's dying, but whatever, man. They do them. It's better for me. I continue to push on farther and farther, and I've already reached the border with Canada. And so I look at the territories I need. I know now. I know at this point the game will give me whatever I want. So I just push into whatever territory and until I get every single one that I need. I do this mainly to because I got so sick of the AI like just giving me shitty peace deals of previously that I just pushed as far as I could. Funny enough, even like the Mexico puppet state was like, or like they actually though interestingly, your puppet states will or move shift troops to their borders. I mean, you can't really see that here, but they were shifting troops earlier to possibly fight the Americans. It's kind of cool, but anyways, the Americans somehow managed to break out and bro, I don't get this, man. I actually don't get this. They kept obsessively they keep obsessively defending Mexico. Anyways, I decide to finally finish this territory once and for all. And they even start attacking me from the east and they start taking some territory back. But at this point, I don't even care anymore. I don't have to care because I've completely taken everything. And after the seizure of all the Mexican lands, I decide that it's time. It's time to make peace. And there's one province left, but that's a part of the Mexican Empire. And so I decide, okay, I'll take all these territories. And I wasn't sure where the exact border was, so I just took a few extra territories just to make sure. Just to ensure that I'm fine. I took a little bit of extra stuff. I knew that with the border wasn't correct. I just remembered roughly. And so from there, just like that, I took all the territory I needed to. And the war with the Americans was over. And I even gave away some territory to Canada because I just gave away the territory that I did not need. And so I carefully, I made sure, because if I gave a province that I needed, I'd have to go to war with Canada, which, just why? It's a waste of my time. And the video is long enough as it is. So yeah, I made sure to, carefully give away all my provinces rather than just give away recklessly. And so I gave away the top northern parts that I needed, and then I realized that part of USA was still a part of my territory. It's just that I'd realized later on only. And so after that, I declared war on my puppet, and I took the one province and just left. Of course, assimilated. I'll save you the video, but yeah, this part was left behind. You see, because in my state of happiness, when I just took whatever I wanted, I completely forgot Mexico. I swear, mainly because I held all the territory above it, so I kept forgetting that there was still an American enclave just here. But at this point, America was too weak to fight back, and I took over every last province, and finally, frickin' finally, it was done. Well, I couldn't phone because I wasn't at peace, but frickin' finally it was done. This challenge was over. I formed the Spanish Empire, okay? I spent 3 hours on this, and all I'd like to say as an afterthought is I am not doing another video like this again in a long time. Alright? It's probably one of the most exhausting ones ever. So I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.